everyone. We have a countdown happening. 18 days until 3IATLAS is closer to Earth than it has been during the entire time we've kept it under observation. It's going to be more than twice as close as when Hubble captured that iconic image. With Hubble, James Webb, and all our biggest telescopes pointed at it, we expect to get never-before-seen details. But here's the problem. Theoretically, 3IATLAS should be becoming less active as it moves away from the sun. It should be losing brightness, the coma should be diminishing. It's basic comet physics. Except that's not what's happening. And the more we observe, the more the anomalies pile up. Let's start with what makes 3IATLAS truly extraordinary. An anomaly that is extremely difficult to explain, the anti-tail or anti-solar jets we're observing. Look at this image. I've never seen a comet look like this before. The anti-tail is incredibly apparent, projecting toward the sun for at least 1 million kilometers. Now, pay attention. This is not an optical illusion. Illusory anti-tails only happen when Earth crosses a comet's orbital path. But, as you can see from the trajectory, at no point will Earth cross 3IATLAS's trajectory. This anti-tail is genuine. And this should be physically impossible! For you to understand how bizarre this is, I'll explain the physics involved. The solar wind at 3IATLAS's location moves at approximately 400 kilometers per second. That's 1,000 times faster than the thermal velocity of gas that naturally flows from a comet heated by the sun. Let me put this in perspective. If you wanted natural outgassing to survive against this solar gale, it would be equivalent to trying to walk at 5 kilometers per hour directly against a 5,000 kilometer per hour wind. Obviously impossible. That's why natural cometary tails extend behind a comet, not in front. And in the very rare case where an anti-tail can survive against the solar wind, it's annihilated within the first few hundred kilometers, not a million. For the anti-tail to maintain its structure against such a fierce solar wind, the mass density must be at least 1 million times greater than the density of the solar wind itself. Here comes the part that makes physicists' hair stand on end. If the anti-tail has this absurd density, 3IATLAS must be losing mass at an impressive rate, approximately 200 metric tons per second. When we also include the main tail in the calculation, the total mass loss during October and November reaches several billion tons. That's 10% of the minimum mass that Avi Loeb calculated for the object 33 billion tons. But here's the problem. NASA doesn't think this object is that large. They insist the nucleus must be much smaller. But if that's the case, the entire nucleus should have been annihilated by now. And there's more. During the summer months, 3IATLAS showed no non-gravitational acceleration. It moved like a rock or like a ship under intelligent control. Then, around perihelion on October 29th, a measurable acceleration was detected. For a natural comet, this would require more than 10% of the object's entire mass to be expelled. We've already accounted for 10% just for the tail. The math simply doesn't add up. But there's one explanation that makes the math work perfectly: artificial propulsion. Chemical thrusters or ion propulsion would require much less mass because they have much higher escape velocities. Normal cometary outgassing travels at 400 meters per second. Chemical rocket engines travel at more than 4.5 kilometers per second. A complete order of magnitude higher. If we're talking about ion thrusters, this could reduce the required mass by up to 4 orders of magnitude. That makes much more mathematical sense. And here's the disturbing detail. This evidence has been presented in more than one academic paper for peer review, and no journal will publish it. Each one simply rejects it as if we were talking about fairies or ghosts. And there are more glaring inconsistencies. The jets are solid, columnar, highly organized, being generated by an object that rotates once every 16 hours. This should be absolutely impossible. If the jets came from multiple locations on the surface as the object rotates, they should spread out. They shouldn't be laser light. The only way for a natural comet to generate something like this would be if there were one location generating the jets, and every time it was exposed to the sun, it would fire the jets. But if that were the case, we would see interruptions like a beating heart. Instead, we see highly organized jets without any interruption, as if they came from an object that isn't rotating. But it is, and the rotation creates another mystery. 3I-ATLAS's brightness varies from 10 to 20% with each rotation. According to NASA, the vast majority of brightness comes from the coma, which doesn't rotate, not from the nucleus. If that were the case, rotation shouldn't change the object's brightness. But as you can see in astrophotographer Ray's images, there's a very clear change in brightness and gas patterns as it rotates. This shouldn't be happening! A cometary nucleus doesn't have enough gravity to drag the coma with it as it rotates. Now we need to talk about another incredible anomaly. 3I-ATLAS is going to intercept Jupiter at an incredibly useful location, the Hill radius. This is the point where Jupiter's gravity takes over from the Sun. It's an ideal location to place probes that can monitor the planet or move to intercept its moons. We use these points ourselves for exploration. But something new has emerged that makes me question whether NASA is trying to cover up this anomaly. On October 30th, according to JPL, the non-gravitational acceleration was listed at 1.66 times 10, negative 6. On November 24th, it was reduced by a factor of 4. Avi Loeb pointed out that this placed 3I-ATLAS practically identical to Jupiter's Hill radius. Here comes the disturbing part. Avi sent an email to NASA reporting this unlikely coincidence. NASA didn't respond. But within a few days, they updated the acceleration again by a factor of 6. How could NASA have been so wrong initially to require this kind of massive adjustment? And what an interesting coincidence. They changed the numbers right after Loeb talked about the incredible coincidence. Now, the new prediction places 3I-ATLAS just outside Jupiter's Hill radius. Did NASA manipulate the numbers to avoid this embarrassing coincidence? As Avi Loeb said, the Vatican's insistence that Earth was at the center of the solar system didn't change Earth's orbit around the Sun. Similarly, NASA's new models won't change 3I-ATLAS's actual trajectory. We'll know the truth in the coming months. Astrometric data from the Juno probe, ESA, JUICE, and 16 Psyche will be crucial to resolving the question. If 3I-ATLAS really passes within the Hill radius, defying NASA's adjusted prediction, many questions will demand answers. I'm not saying NASA is doing this intentionally, but it's a very interesting coincidence that almost immediately after Loeb reports this anomaly, they clarify the data to make the coincidence disappear. 3I-ATLAS continues to defy our understanding of cometary physics. Each anomaly, the impossible antitail, the organized jets, the math that doesn't add up, the Jupiter coincidence, points to something extraordinary. Whether it's a comet with extreme properties that rewrite physics, textbooks, or something more intriguing that we're not yet ready to accept, one thing is certain. We're witnessing something unprecedented. And you, what do you think? Are we facing extreme natural physics, or is there something more happening that certain institutions prefer to keep silent? The truth will be revealed when 3I-ATLAS makes its closest approach in December and its encounter with Jupiter in March. Leave your theories in the comments. If you want to follow every development of this story that may be rewriting our understanding of the cosmos, like, share, and subscribe. The universe is full of mysteries, and we'll be here to unravel each one.